When you use the density form of the ideal gas law, there's a couple things that are really important. On the pressure value, use absolute pressure, not gauge or vacuum pressure. Absolute pressure is pressure measured from absolute zero. Most pressure values, for example the pressure in a tire, are gauge pressure values, and you have to adjust them by adding atmospheric pressure. Similarly, on temperature, use absolute temperature. You have to use Kelvin, not Celsius. In traditional, you have to use Rankine, not Fahrenheit. Okay, on the gas constant, remember you're using the specific gas constant, and you can look this up in table A2 at the end of the book. When you're using the mole form of the ideal gas law, make sure to use the universal gas constant. Some values are written right here in SI units and in traditional units. Lastly, this equation right here is very useful for relating the universal gas constant to the specific gas constant. Okay, theory. Okay, the ideal gas law is empirical. What this means is that scientists ran an experiment and they found something that looked plausible. They ran another one, it seemed to fit there, and they ran another one, it seemed to fit there, and every experiment they ran, they got the same kind of results, and they eventually deduced this must be true in general. That's what empirical means, and most of the great equations in engineering, such as Newton's second law of motion and the law of conservation of energy, are empirical. The ideal gas law was preceded historically by Boyle's law, and by Charles's law, and by Avogadro's hypothesis, which is stated here in the text. Equal volumes of gases at the same temperature and pressure contain equal numbers of molecules. The ideal gas law uses moles, and a mole is simply the number of atoms that there are in 12 grams of carbon-12. Another common unit is called the kilomoles, and this is the number of particles there are in 12 kilograms of carbon-12. Another unit you'll see sometimes is the pound mass mole, and this is the number of atoms or particles in 12 pounds mass of carbon-12. Okay, validity of the ideal gas law means when can we use this in practice and trust that our numbers are close to what's really going on in the physical world. And there's some guidelines here in the textbook, and most of the time when you have gases, unless they're at very high pressures or very low temperatures, we can use the ideal gas law. One case to watch is gas which is very hot, such as a exhaust plume from a rocket, and because we can have dissociation and ionization. And in thermodynamics, there's a term called the compressibility factor Z, and you can look this up in thermodynamics text, and this allows you, when you're unsure, to make an estimate of whether the ideal gas law applies. So that's it. So that's some of the key facts about the ideal gas law. Hope you enjoyed this video.